Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Ananta Ramachandran, part of the product marketing team here at DigitalOcean. I'm genuinely thrilled to be a host for this Hacktoberfest closing event. Um, 12 years in, and this community is still blowing the doors of what is possible. But wait, before we get started into the heavy stuff for this closing event, let's just talk about cool swags that all of us love. We didn't just plan a great closing event. We planned we planned a great closing event where you can score some sweet gear as well. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat, and of course, we have quizzes. If you have the best technical questions, the funniest chat reactions, or just plain crush the quiz trivia, right? We are sending you something awesome. So wake up all your keyboards and get chatting using the chat window that you see in the StreamYard tool here, or in your live stream locations where you're joining us from. Speaking of chat, let's see how global this community truly is, how global our audience is today, right? So please let us know where you're attending this webinar from, right? Drop in your city or state or your country in the chat right now, please. Well, I see folks from India, Yemen, Brazil, Africa, Cape Town, London. Yeah, Asia is pretty awake. Yeah, strong presence from India. That is awesome to hear. Krishna from Kolkata. Welcome, welcome. I see a lot of you from Asia and Europe. That is very interesting. That's a strong developer contingent there. Thank you. Someone is joining us from Indonesia. Wow. Again, South Africa, so a really strong contingent there. Right? Gabon. Wow, this is amazing how truly global our community is, how truly the mindset to volunteer, the mindset to contribute to open source and AI are like fantastic. I mean, this is just on fire. I'm having a hard time tracking where you're all dialing from, right? So uh, I'm just looking at the map, and it's just lighting up all over the globe here. This is what open source scale looks like, right? Again, thank you all for joining us today. Sincerely appreciate your time and interest here today, right? When we talk about open source today, we are talking about the fundamental operating system for innovation, especially in AI, whether it is PyTorch or Hugging Face or the foundational models themselves. Open source is no longer just a nice to have. It's the engine of technological progress. And you are the engineers and the leaders and the community drivers running that innovation engine. Right? So let's talk about numbers from this month-long Hacktoberfest event. Right? The scale of participation has truly been staggering for all of us here. Right? We've had about like 56,566 registrants globally across different parts of the globe. Right? And you collectively submitted close to 66,000 accepted PRs and MRs across 23,000 active repositories in like around like 162 countries or something like that. Right? Like that's just truly a global scale. And we have over 4,600 users that have completed this challenge. Right? That's fantastic. That's a global impact that this event has created. For the technical decision makers who are with us today, right? This proves that investing in and consuming open source provides a massive, distributed, and more importantly, a resilient engineering capacity. Right? For the developers, you just ship code or documentation or features to thousands of projects worldwide. And we sincerely want to share our heartfelt thanks for all of that. Right? So again, welcome and our sincere thanks and deep appreciation. So we've got a packed agenda focused on moving from code contributions to career acceleration and cutting edge AI driven demos, and so many real good things, right? So keep your energy and engagement high, especially in that chat window. We also have lots of folks from DigitalOcean who will be able to assist, answer any questions that you may have on the chat. Right? We got a packed agenda, right? But let's just check whether we have some of our initial speakers with us here. So I'm going to invite Ben and Mike. We're going to begin the event with that first thing on the agenda, focused on a couple of things, right? First of all, like contributor feedback is the heartbeat of a successful project, right? I'm thrilled to announce Mike Swift from MLS, who you see on the screen now, and Ben Bata from DigitalOcean as well, right? So welcome, Mike. Welcome, Ben.
I'm excited to be here.
Good day so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited.
It's I can't believe Hacktoberfest is over. It's bittersweet. It's what an amazing month. But yeah, I'm excited to be here this morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we are all here to place a cherry on top of that sugar treat and enjoy that as well. Hopefully, thank you so much for joining us here. Appreciate your presence again. So let's just get cracking on, right? Like Mike, as someone who's seen the Hacktoberfest journey end to end, right?
Yes.
What are some of the most compelling Hacktoberfest 2025 experiences you saw this year, and critically for our developers and the maintainers here, right? How do we take this community momentum forward into the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great question. First of all, for everybody who participated in Hacktoberfest, congratulations. Getting involved in the open source community is scary. It's tough, right? Like, at Major League Hacking, we work with 1 in 3 computer science graduates each year through one of our programs. And one of the big questions we ask them, in addition to things like hackathons and, the types of personal projects they work on in their own time, we say, have you gotten involved in open source yet? And a huge number of developers, something like 60 or 70% of them, have not gotten into open source yet, but they see it as valuable for their career. And when we talk to them about why, the top 2 reasons are, number one, people, don't know where to get started. The open source community can be incredibly overwhelming. Just think about how many projects are out there, the constant flood of new issues. There's just so much to understand, and to find the right, contribution for you, that's a huge challenge on its own. And then people also feel like they don't have the right skills. You look at open source and you see these projects that are used by thousands or millions of developers around the world, and how, incredible these pieces of technology are, world class. I mean, these are literally the examples that we look up to in terms of code quality and impact. And so, of course, it's going to feel overwhelming, like you don't have the skills and you don't know where to get going. But one thing I've learned, both watching Hacktoberfest over the last decade plus and working on a community like the one we have at Major League Hacking, where we help people, get started from the very beginning, I know that open source as a community is so welcoming, and there's a place for everybody to get started and make an impact, whether that's, documentation or just small bug fix or quality of life improvements, or even some major stuff like we saw this month. But really, there's something for everybody. And events like Hacktoberfest are such an important catalyst for getting all of these great open source citizens in the next generation started and online and making an impact from day zero. And, I wish, looking back, that I had been doing things like Hacktoberfest. It wasn't around when I was a developer right in my very beginning myself. But, can you believe how much impact we've had, the number of the people who made contributions, more than 50,000 participants, like what? And all around the world, holy cow. And when I look back on this month, I said this when we joined, but I can't believe it's over. It just zipped by. One of the things I got to do throughout the course of the month was I live streamed some conversations with various partners and contributors and maintainers from the Major League Hacking side around open source, talking to them about their own journeys, about how they're using AI, which, the technology is changing by the minute right now. And what that means for open source is, unfolding right in front of us, which is so cool. But a lot of great conversations. I was really excited to see all those contributions. Like, we are really driving the open source community here with DigitalOcean and Hacktoberfest. Like, it's just such a privilege to be a part of such an amazing high impact event. And, I think your last bit of your question is super salient, right? It's like, okay, we just spent the last month learning how to be great open source citizens, making our first contributions, generating all this activity and buzz and excitement about open source, but it can't end today, right? Like, it can't be over. We need to figure out how to keep this momentum going, especially given all the context around what's happening with AI in the world. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're optimistic or pessimistic. The technology is here and it's changed everything. And the reality is open source as an ecosystem is evolving right in front of our eyes too. And the people who are contributing this month in Hacktoberfest, the maintainers who are supporting them, you're all the ones defining what that future looks like. And so we need to keep that conversation going. We need to keep that activity going. And the amount of code that's being generated, both open and closed, is going to require Herculean effort to maintain and balance. And so, yeah, all that's to say that like we really need to keep going. I think the best thing you can do is, number one, stay involved in those projects that you've contributed to. Just because you made a contribution during Hacktoberfest and maybe you accomplished your goal in October doesn't mean you've accomplished your goal around your journey into open source, right? Like all of those projects need long-term contributors, long-term maintainers. Stay involved, stay in touch with those maintainers. If you're joined the Discord or the community for the project, be active there, ask questions, help other newbies who are joining, look for other contributions. It's a great thing to do at the beginning of every month. Open up some of your favorite projects and comb through some of those issues and look for some that maybe aren't getting prioritized, that are important and are going to make a big impact on other people. And then last I'd say is just keep in mind the power of community. The one beautiful thing about Hacktoberfest is it's this specific moment in time where we all do this thing that is so hard but so important. And the reason it's so much easier and we get so many people during October is because we do it as a group. It's not lonely. It's not a solo sport. It's a team sport, and we're all out there doing it. And just because October's over, it doesn't mean that the team needs to disband. Everybody can keep doing this together, and we can all learn and grow together. And that's just such an important and powerful effect. It's something that's going to make the ocean of open source much more navigable for all of us. So stay in touch with the people you've met, keep contributing to these communities, set a goal for yourself to become a consistent long-term contributor in open source, whether that's one project or many. It's a rising tide that's lifted by all ships. We need to all come together to really build this ecosystem we all depend on every day. So I couldn't be more proud to have been a part of this. This was awesome. Shout out to DigitalOcean. So much work goes into organizing an event like this. It's so impressive. And shout out to everybody who made this event possible. Contributors, maintainers, sponsors. Holy cow, what an amazing group of people who really came together to do something super special.
Well said, Mike. What you said truly resonates with many in the audience here, as well as me. Especially, I love how you stated that open source as a community is so welcome, and there's an opportunity for every member, every role player here to contribute meaningfully. I love that, and then great guidance on how October may be over, but it's important for all of us to just stay involved, to accomplish or to enjoy the journey of contributing to open source, so that together we all rise the projects that make a meaningful difference in the world as well. Right? So well stated. Thank you so much for all your contributions and continued support. Really appreciate it. Ben, shifting to the tech driver of the moment, right? AI. How is the explosion of, say, AI tooling from code generation to, say, smart reviews, like impacting open source contributions? I'm sure, can you share some examples of meaningful contributions you've seen where AI was more a force multiplier rather than just a shortcut, right? Can you share a bit about that, Ben?
Yeah, of course I can. So this is my first time participating in the Hacktoberfest. I've contributed to open source projects in the past. I've never been a maintainer before, so that was a new experience for me as well. So some of that, take all this with a grain of salt. I'm new to this whole thing, and I never saw a pre-AI world of what it looked like before. It's kind of a mixed bag. I'm on the Gradient AI platform as our architect, so I would be hypocritical if I said AI was a bad thing for open source or for code. I think it's a great thing, and I think that there's high quality stuff. And in fact, the repo that we offered, which is our SDK, it has a ton of AI generated code in it. So we were very open to AI contributions. We didn't advertise this, but we received some. The best contributions, hard to tell if it was an AI or not. Good code is good code. At a fundamental level. I have a suspicion that some of the best ones were AI. I think some of them were a little bit more thorough than I've seen trawling other open source projects for PRs in the past. I think some of the communication also was greatly improved. I've seen a lot of open source contributors just kind of drop a PR and leave, or have some friendly banter, but trying to extract like, hey, why did you do this thing or whatever is hard. Particularly sometimes open source contributors are coming from a different language and there's barriers there. So AI was able to help break those communication barriers down and help the contributors articulate what exactly that they wanted to do with the project. And also, we saw just, I think, some clean code, and it also helped people come back with better tests. And I think it just helped cycle time on this. For a little bit of perspective, we submitted 3 issues on 2 repos each, so 6 total issues. I was on vacation for a week, and I came back, and we had 2 to 3 submissions for every issue, plus 2 to 3 just general repo submissions. Obviously, we couldn't accept duplicate submissions, but we accepted more than half of the submissions total, and if I had to guess, I would say most of those had AI involved to some degree.
Fantastic. Ben, thank you for sharing. Good communications, clean code, and consistent contributions. Somehow you're a fan of alliterations. The C's turned up quite well when you shared your response. I really appreciate what you've done that. Fantastic, Ben. Thank you again, Mike and Ben. Thank you so much for your, specifically that mindset, that time and intent. We truly appreciate your ongoing support, and we continue to see more contributions and more leadership, continued leadership from both of you as well. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, folks, with that, again, you just heard from Mike and Ben, right? Feel free to share any questions or any chat so that they could help answer or provide more context. It's important for us to just continue the conversations and continue our journey towards contribution towards the open source projects as Mike and Ben just shared. Next up, we're going to switch gears to talk about the power of deep dive, right? So let me see whether Andy, there's Andy. Hey, Andy, I'm going to add you on stage here.
Hi, thanks.
Andy, welcome. Really hope you had a good day so far. How's the day going so far?
Yeah, absolutely good. Thanks so much. I mean, it's Friday and I'm grateful, but like people have said before, I can't believe the month is over. Like a month full of hacking and somehow it's coming to an end.
Yeah. Andy, we really appreciate you coming here today, right? I want to get started here. So let's start with the basis. Do you want to introduce yourself before we get onto a fireside chat with you? Can you just share a bit about yourself, your company, and then we'll get into the chat, please.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm happy to. Thanks so much. My name is Andrew. I have been in open source development for over 20 years now. I can't actually believe it's been quite so long. I've worked on lots of different projects across Java and Go ecosystem. My recent work has been in the Find.io library. We're building technologies that make it easy for folk to build graphical apps with Go. And my company, Aptrix.ai, is building on top of that to help people get into it without needing to learn how to code. So visual creation, low code, we're working with AI to deliver an almost vibe code experience, but robust software engineering. And it's all built on top of the open source technologies that are so prevalent out in the world and that make all this possible.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chef, for sharing that context, Andrew. A light question, where are you joining us today from?
I am sitting in a university building in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it looks miserable and cold outside, but it's warm and sunny indoors.
Hey, I'm from Seattle, right? And we have our share of drizzle and cloudy skies, but I always tell my friends and family that, hey, today's rain is tomorrow's water, and cloud reduce the risk of sunburn. So if you think in those terms, in those ways, right? Like any weather is good weather. So thank you so much for joining us from there. Let's just get started. Yeah, go ahead.
No, thanks so much for the invite. It's great to be here. I'm happy to share some thoughts and hopefully, answer whatever questions you think would be helpful.
Yeah, so let's just get started. Like, what does Hacktoberfest mean to you personally, Andrew? Like, as a contributor who started here and now as a founder running a business, what does Hacktoberfest mean to you personally?
I think fundamentally it is a celebration of open source. You know, we're trying to get people involved. We're trying to show all of the things that are being created. But mostly I feel like this is, in a way, it's showing gratitude for the hard work that people are putting into the open source ecosystem. I think a lot of the time we can see people talking about open source from the point of view of how much effort it is or how difficult it can be at times. But to have a project like Hacktoberfest that's just saying, hey, work on this, we're going to show you some appreciation and celebrate it and bring people together. It's just brilliant to have that spin on it, and to bring people together to work on projects that they might not have done otherwise, and make it more approachable. I think actually one of the big things that has helped was the Hacktoberfest tag on projects and issues, so people can come in and just go, oh well, somebody's thought this is a good way to get started, and so that's been quite beneficial to a lot of projects as well.
Fantastic. So this year's theme is like open source meets AI, right? Feels especially relevant, right? How do you see open source accelerating innovation in AI, and where do you think independent developers can make the biggest impact?
So I think, a little bit like I said before, open source powers an awful lot of the world right now. And one of the things that is easily forgotten is that the LLMs and the AI-based technologies that we have are all built on top of what they can find online. And of course, mostly that is open source technology. So using that reasoning, we could say that vibe coding and code generation through LLM is all built on top of open source. And so we're here building the groundwork that make all of those innovations possible. So whether it is a project that you started in your spare time, something that's been established for a while, or something that was sparked by the Hacktoberfest event, we are actually leveling up the capability of the agents and the language models that are out there in the world. So clearly, everybody's going to be benefiting from that as a result. And I know that it can work with documentation, so it could help you to interact with proprietary systems. But as we realize that truly understanding something is more important, there's very little way that a model like that could understand a closed proprietary system in the same way that it can open source. So if we do good work in the open with clean APIs, great documentation, then we're going to find much better results as available across the board through these models. Additionally, I think that we're working in a black box environment right now. Nobody particularly knows how the answers from an LLM are coming. It's non-deterministic, based on a huge amount of data, and it can look exceptionally intelligent, but sometimes not necessarily delivering exactly what you would think. And one of the reasons I think that open source could be very interesting here is as we look into open models and other aspects of lifting the hood, I suppose, on how some things work, we might be able to move towards more robust models, clearer reasoning, and potentially even delivering on explainable AI, which so far seems to have been a pretty difficult thing for anybody actually to deliver. And if we had explainable models, I mean, we'd hopefully understand the outcomes or get better outcomes, but also people could learn along the way instead of blindly taking what's given to them for granted and hoping that it's right.
That's very insightful, Andrew. That's very insightful, especially your point on how clean API with better documentation is such a critical factor for driving open source success. I really appreciate that point. And also your point about like explainable AI and explainable model is something that we all crave for, right? Like, we know what's happening, but like, why does it happen that way? That's a great perspective there. I really appreciate that. Just a couple of more. Again, for the audience who are listening to Andrew, if you have any questions, feel free to ask on the chat. I want to make sure that your questions are represented as well. We will try our best to answer some questions that you have. Just building on that point, Andrew, like you're a super contributor, right? Like as a super contributor, you've been through the trenches, right? So things may seem a little more streamlined, a bit more natural for you now, but there are always first timers, right? Like we've had several first timers during the Hacktoberfest 2025 this month, right? Like what advice would you give to someone making their first pull request, especially those feeling a bit intimidated by the sheer scale of the open source world?
Yeah. That is, it's a tricky question because you're right. It can seem really intimidating, which is a little bit ironic because being open and transparent is a big part of how this ecosystem works. So in theory, it should be easier to get into. But yeah, intimidating is quite a good word there. I think really the advice that I give to anybody who's trying to get started in tech is actually just to get started. And I think open source works in exactly that way. If you can, if you've got an area that you're interested in, then have a look at something that is intriguing you. It could be a bug or a feature, something that's been niggling at you. Hopefully you've dug into it a little bit because of course that's easy to do with everything being out there, the code and information. But if you can understand it a little bit and start to work on it, that's a really good point to be able to reach out to the community and ask for a bit of support. Now, maybe you've created a pull request. Maybe it's before that and you're just starting to understand the code. But if somebody can get a good understanding about the problem they're trying to solve, they can ask questions that are a little bit clearer, a little bit more concise, which makes it a lot easier for an established community to actually provide support. So I think, yeah, reach out for that thing that's interesting you and get a little bit of grounding. And then you can work with the team. I find that the open source projects, the community around them, they really want to help, but it's very difficult to help in a high level way, to just offer guidance. But it's very easy to answer questions and help nudge people along when they're struggling with something. So yeah, if people could just get started on an issue, like I said, the Hacktoberfest tag can really help, or GitHub's great first issue. Sometimes maybe the project isn't as well organized as that, but there's usually a person who could point you to what's the main thing that people have been struggling with, what's an area that you've not had the time to look into. If you can ask a specific question, then you should be able to get a specific answer. And as much as I guess folk don't want to take time out of a busy schedule, the community exists for a reason. And if you can ask a question that's easy to answer, I think usually you'll get quite a quick response. Somewhat ironically, if you use AI to formulate a long question that articulates all of your thinking all of the way through, that could be really hard to answer quickly. Sometimes the in-depth knowledge is useful later in the process. You might want to embellish a pull request with that. But if you're just getting started, dig in, find something that you're interested in, understand it just enough to ask for help when you need it. And hopefully that starts the process of a really good conversation. And I love seeing new contributors to projects. I'm so glad that Hacktoberfest creates them, because it's the lifeblood of any project is new contributors coming in with new time, enthusiasm, ideas, different backgrounds. Diversity here comes from new people entering projects.
That's true. That's true. Like contributors are the lifeblood of any project, and as you said, right, like do not try to be perfect in your questions, right? You don't need to provide all the context and provide detailed framing and things like that. As I said, just dig in and ask the questions and ask for help when you need it, right? Like that's a great way to get started and not feel intimidated by the sheer scale of the open source world as well. Great response, Andrew. I was just looking through the chat to see what are the questions or what are the comments people have, and I find some interesting ones, especially some common ones too. I'm going to share one such question that I see here, which is I think is going to be helpful, right? Like finally looking ahead, like just like most of our audience, I'm also curious. Like, how do you see Hacktoberfest and initiatives like it evolving? Right? Like, what role do you think community-led programs play in shaping the future of the developer ecosystem?
I think community projects are going to be more critical now and going forward than they ever have been before. I'm finding, and I don't know if other people have experienced this or not, but organizations, particularly the larger ones, those where you might expect a training program or a graduate scheme to be training up individuals, they're taking in fewer junior level engineers. They're putting a lot of their money into AI and automation and believing that the technology is going to save us time and money. Unfortunately, I think that's coming at the cost of the experience of junior engineers bringing in enthusiasm and learning on the job, leveling up a business whilst they level up themselves. And I think that the community side of things, initiatives like this, are going to provide more of that space where people can come in and ask questions and learn by doing. But we need people to come in and have that support and learn with each others. The technology just moves so quickly to believe that any, established program can just be worked through and then your job ready. We need people to be communicating, collaborating, and constantly learning. And the community and open source is just such a fantastic place to reinforce that type of learning.
Fantastic. That's it. Andrew, thank you so much for sharing those insights. Right, it's a powerful lesson for every contributor here. Right, like your contributions are more than just lines of code. Right, they are artifacts of your technical mastery as well. Right. I'm really excited for the journey you've been through and the journey you will continue with us as well. And sincere thanks for all the leadership too. Right. So, another point that proves that open source is not just for developers, right? Like you're running a business, you're wearing multiple hats, right? There's a role for everybody to play. There's a way we can add meaningful impact to open source projects to make a real difference in the world. I really appreciate the contributions and perspectives here, Andrew. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
I don't think I've got any more thoughts specifically to add. I appreciate the thank there, and of course the support that Hacktoberfest has provided. It's a brilliant initiative. I'm looking forward to sporting my T-shirt. Just out of frame right now, I'm wearing one from a previous year, so they get well used. I just look forward to seeing what the project creates going forward, to working with new people in the community, and I'd be happy to talk about this with anybody who's thinking about getting involved, doesn't know how. I'll be in the chat, but also just looking really forward to seeing what comes next and working with more people in the emerging ecosystem. So yeah, thanks again, you and the entire community.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great Friday. Have a great evening. Everybody is good weather. Have a great evening. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to really recognize and appreciate the chat that we've seen here. This is fantastic. This is the engagement that just fuels the conversations and innovations as well. I really appreciate everyone who's been on the chat here. Before we move on, I just want to recognize and see what's happening in the chat speed. It's just like on fire, right? It's just hard for me to track it. I see someone say that they've been here for so many years and they look forward to continuing the contributions to Hacktoberfest. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And sometimes if you don't have the IDs don't reveal the exact name. That's why I'm not able to call out names here. But the IDs are a bit hard for me to understand what the name could be. But that's fantastic. Someone says they've got like 6 badges. That is awesome. That is awesome. Right? Again, there are discussions on PRs and maintainers. Right? Like I love the practical conversations here. Like the first PR is 95% mistakes and 5% maintainer comments and stuff like that. Like you have to chase maintainers to PR, stuff like that. Like, hey, there's always going to be, it's not going to be a better process too, right? Like, there's always going to be challenges and newer ways to solve things. And that's what makes it super interesting. I really appreciate all those genuine comments. Yeah, someone says he agrees with the Govind agrees with the comment that the open source community has been really welcoming and active, especially on Slack and Discord. So folks, continue to engage through those Slack and Discord channels as well. Thank you, Govind. Look forward to your continued contributions there and engagement there. Like Shravan's got huge admiration, not just for contributors, but he wants to share huge kudos for maintainers as well. So for all maintainers, you're getting a lot of kudos from the contributors too. Appreciate all your help. Yeah, so look, keep those, 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 keep those contributions and the chat discussions engaging. As I said, we have some real good swags. Swags not just for those who answered the quiz questions correctly, swags for those who are engaging really well on the chat, especially the most meaningful, most funny, most relevant, supportive perspectives that you share in the chat. We'll also have some good swags that'll be given to you as well. So love it. Continue with engagement. So let me just see whether we have the next speaker with us. I think we do. And I'm going to invite Tessa here. Hi, Tessa. How are you doing?
Hello. How's it going? I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. So Tessa, we are like, I'm just amazed by the global reach of Hacktoberfest and also the global footprint of the speakers on the closing event as well. So let's just begin with a casual note. We'd love to know where you're joining us from today, Tessa.
I am near Orlando, Florida. However, I lived in Seattle my entire life, so I don't feel like a true Floridian resident just yet. I've been here for over a year, but many, many, many decades in Seattle. So that's my true home. But I'm here now.
Thank you. So Tessa, looks like you will enjoy that yellow ball in the sky that you can see from November to March and have a good time with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Again, thank you so much for joining. So folks, our next discussion shifts the focus from, say, from code on screen to your career roadmap, right? We all know open source looks great on resume, right? But how exactly does fixing a bug in a project translate into a senior level role, or let's say a dev leadership position, or any other career opportunity that excites a lot of us here, right? Like, joining us to break down the ROI of open source contribution on your career, right? Tessa Mero, dev lead at Appright, will share those tips and tricks, right? Like, so Tessa, can you share a bit about yourself, your company, and then help us share some perspectives, please?
Absolutely. My name is Tessa Mero, and I'm head of developer relations at Appright. And if you haven't heard of Appright, we're back on open source, backend as a service, alternative to Firebase. And we also have Appright Sites, which is an alternative to Vercel. And I actually have slides I'd love to share.
The screen is yours, Tessa. Go ahead. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's figure this out. Looks like there's a share screen button. Share screen, Chrome tab, presentation. I tested this yesterday, so I think everything should work. Okay, I have my share screen up there. And then let's see. Does this work?
Lovely. Yeah. Well, I see a beautiful starting screen here. Fantastic.
Wonderful. Awesome. So this is a passion topic, open source in general. Just listening to the last conversation, I was just trying not to tear up because I just absolutely love the whole topic of contributors, and just contributing and being in open source was just like my entire success, my entire career. Everything great that has happened to me, all the friends that I've made, everything is just all related to open source. So it just makes me feel so happy. I have like good feelings everywhere, just hearing about it. And that's why I have so much respect for Hacktoberfest as well. But yeah, the inspiration over this topic, and it's my favorite topic, how it can build your career, what's next after contributing or being a student. It's the scariest thing to just know how to get to that next step. And I wanted to share some of my learnings and journey and how you can take that next step and become successful. Because I know there may be a lot of students here, or interns, or people who are just starting out in their career. But as I already mentioned, I'm Tessa Mero, Head of Developer Relations at appbright.io. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter, not so much on other social media platforms. But yeah, happy to chat. If you want to reach out afterwards, I'm a very responsive person. So you've all spent the past month contributing to open source. Let's talk about how those contributions can actually move your career forward. Hacktoberfest is only just the beginning. You've proven you can contribute to real projects. The next step is turning those contributions into long-term credibility and opportunities. And this is a picture of one of my coworkers, Aditya. He went to one of the Hacktoberfest events in India, and I heard it's just so much fun and so much joy for everyone to get together and contribute as a as a group, being able to network and make friends at the same time. So there's lots of great things that Hacktoberfest creates. Hacktoberfest doesn't end with your last PR. It actually starts your developer reputation. It starts your developer journey. This is just the beginning. So I've been in tech for over 15 years. Before 2011, I had multiple internships, then became actually 3 internships back to back. Was hoping to get a job after the first internship, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of learning and a lot of hard work involved. I worked my way into being a developer finally after countless projects I volunteered on working on. I just kept building and building and just didn't let that hold me back. I then moved into developer relations in 2016, but that's a whole different story of how I got into that path. But it was relating to teaching, relating to going to conferences and meetups, and it just and being a developer, and things kind of like fell into that path on its own. I never ever planned on becoming a developer advocate or becoming in like developer relations. And a big part of my success was my involvement in open source projects and communities that helped me get noticed and stand out in every single job opportunity. I'm talking every single job, not just 1 or 2, but every career I've had. It stemmed from being involved in open source. And in 2019-ish, I moved into leadership roles, so in open source projects. So I've been in leadership ever since, and probably forever from now. So what did you gain this month from contributing to open source projects? You have real collaboration experience in async global teams. And let me tell you now, if I have never been part of open source projects in the past, I would have never, I would never have gotten any of my first developer jobs. My communication skills were very, very poor, and I did not know how to collaborate well with different cultures and different personality types. I really was able to grow that skill through being involved in open source communities and projects for many years, just making a lot of mistakes, making people upset because I said the wrong thing or just didn't get my point across correctly. I got all that practice in open source communities, thank goodness, because wouldn't work in a professional environment. Peer code reviews by mentors and professionals helps a lot to improve your developer skills and think deeper about technical concepts. Documentation and communication practices. When you write or edit open source docs, you're really learning how to explain technical concepts clearly, which is one of the most valuable communication skills a developer can have. Having a public record of consistent work on social media and on your GitHub, of course. And your ability to network it with other companies and individuals through getting involved in contributing. And a big part of my network growth when at the beginning of my career was just talking to people and getting involved. I just got involved in everything and so much. I don't know how I did it. I just was younger with more energy every day. I went to a meetup or tried to find a meetup, but there's a lot of tech meetups in Seattle, so there's tons of opportunities to network. Not everyone has that luxury to be able to, go into town and find a tech meetup every single day. One great PR can show more than 10 small ones, and I want to definitely emphasize on that. My company has been involved in several Hacktoberfests in the past. We've seen, one person submit one amazing PR that they put a lot of time into. Then we've had other people submit, 10 or 20 small PRs that really doesn't make any kind of impact on the project. Some of them, not a big deal, but definitely, put some thought into that. Quality over quantity. As someone I'm more on the hiring side, I don't look at how many PRs you've made. I look at how thoughtful and high quality they are. Quality PRs show like the ability to read and follow contributing guidelines, understanding of project context, good commit hygiene and comments, make each commit intentional and easy to understand for reviewers. Clear comments can show your reasoning as well. Good collaboration and responsiveness in review threads. We actually take this into high consideration at Appright and hire contributors from great communication skills. And a quick note on AI, tools can help you write code, but maintainers and employers can easily tell when a PR or comment feels generated instead of personal. What stands out is your voice and genuine effort, clear reasoning and understanding, and that's what makes people remember you by. And there's nothing wrong with using AI to write code, but make sure you understand what you're creating and make sure it works. We've had a lot of PRs that were AI generated, but they had no idea what it's doing when we've asked them questions about it. And it did absolutely nothing. It was just a big block of script that did nothing. So just, keep in mind quality, and I always encourage the use of AI with everyone. Just know what it's doing. And the screenshot I'm sharing here is a screenshot of one of my coworkers who's now a senior engineer. He got his start from being part of Hacktoberfest and submitting his PR to Appright. And after he submitted his first PR, he kept contributing and being part of our open source project. And now it's like he's just part of us now. And we've actually hired a lot of our engineers from our open source community. That doesn't, there's nothing better than being part of the contributing team, which, anyone can join the contributing team by just showing up and saying, hey, I want to volunteer, I want to contribute. Then you're an official contributor from there, at least my perspective. Turn your PRs into opportunities. Add open source under experience or projects. So this was like the life-changing moment for me. There wasn't a lot of information on what I can do to help my career. It was all like I had to talk to people and make friends and get information from other people back in 2010-ish. And having contribution section on my resume is what helped me with my career growth. Quantify your results, as companies like to see metrics, especially me when I'm reviewing resumes. It makes it just easier to understand. Mention skills including teamwork, docs, and your participation in each project. If you only contribute to one project, then what you've done and your impact within that project. And keep your GitHub profile tidy and consistent with your resume as well. I've always had a contribution section on my resume, and I always emphasize and put more information there because I've never really had much to put on the experience section, especially before I had my first job. So when I'm reviewing someone's resume, I see that contribution section no different than I'm reading the experience section. So that's something I really want you all to keep in mind. Your GitHub is now your portfolio. curate it like one. So visibility and networking. Leave thoughtful comments on other PRs and issues. Engage with maintainers and other contributors on X, LinkedIn, Discord, and other places where the community lives. A note on that, one of my first conferences, I was just talking to people and they're like, hey, do you use social media? I'm like, no, not really, just Facebook to talk to my family. And this was in 2011. And he's like, make a Twitter account. You're going to follow a bunch of developers, and that's where your journey is going to start. Like, I know you're just starting in your career and don't know anyone, but I'm going to show you, what you need to do. So I literally just started following, maintainers and developers that, I cared about, that were working on awesome stuff, and just like learning from them. And over time, my mind kind of like molded into how they're thinking and what they're getting involved in. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do to take that next step and get to that next level. And yeah, next section, your next job opportunity might start with a single PR review. Share on social media your takeaways and learnings from your contributions. This turns your GitHub activity into a personal brand and helps hiring managers remember your name. And that has helped me a lot in the past. I used to be extremely active on social media after I was given that advice. And I was just constantly posting everything I learned, everything I'm doing, I lead everything out there. And, when people are reviewing my resume, they're seeing that I just love to learn and I like to do things and I just care about community and I care about open source and, this is my life. And that's the kind of people I want to hire as well. So I've been, so I'm a little biased and I'm like looking for people that are, just as caring and thoughtful as I was at the beginning. Growing beyond your code. Contribute to docs or tutorials. Show your communication and writing skills. It's very important. You can help review other people's PRs, as this can help build your technical depth. Help new contributors. This can also build on your leadership skills. And these are actually the same qualities hiring managers also look for in senior engineers. This screenshot was from a week ago, and our community is so amazing. We have like over maybe 20,000 people in our Discord community, and this is where the contributors start and meet others and have conversations. And we have a contributor named Kenny who's been around for a while, and look at that great communication. Someone's like, hey, I want to contribute to Appright. This is my first time. I have no experience. He's like, oh, let me help you out. Here's my comment here. And it's just so like warming. It's just a warming feeling to just come in and people are responding and wanting to help get you started. And that's what community is all about. You can turn your contributions into being a future leader. This is a presentation I did back in 2015 as a keynote at a PHP conference to share my story on how I worked my way up from being a student to a contributor to helping lead an open source project, and the skills you learn as a contributor that makes you become a leader. Mentor first-time contributors is very, very important, helping others. Host or maintain a small repo or co-maintain a small repo from, that someone else is maintaining. Speak or write about your experiences and share it to the world, as I already mentioned. The best opportunities I've had came from being active in open source communities. Your PRs or contributions to an organization are proof of your skills. Keep them public, keep them high quality, and keep talking about it. And thank you, DigitalOcean and Hacktoberfest community. If you cannot find a passion project to join for open source, feel free to join our Discord community to learn more about contributing. I like to help new individuals get started, and I love finding resources for them as well. But the best open source project to find is open source tools that you're actually using and enjoy using. Definitely, I would recommend getting started there. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tessa. That was very inspiring and very insightful as well. Really appreciate you sharing all those perspectives. It shows the rich experience, the challenges, or the successes that you've seen in that journey. Um, really interesting perspectives. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, and then Tessa, I think it also found resonance with some of our audience here. The chat is on fire. It's just hard for me to track everything. But I saw some comments, especially from folks like Rishabh and I think it was Devika. Like even the point that resonated the most with me was your point about like one great PR can show more than I think it was 10 small ones or something like that, right? I don't remember the exact phrase from your presentation, but that point just resonated truly with me. And I think it did with many of our audience too, right? Like, for example, many say that, yeah, it's absolutely bang on. One good PR is way better than, let's say, like 10 read me updates or stuff like that. It's just like a funny chats too, right? Like, very interesting perspective. Also, your point on the art of defining cross-functional collaboration, collaborating with different personality types, different organizations from different culture, uh, go a lot way in not just for our next role, but for our entire career as well. Like, because as we move up in the ladder in our career, it's important for us to resonate really well with people and different working styles, right? That would really make the difference as well. So the opportunity to hone your communication skills is something that resonated with me as well.
It sounds easy to just say, oh, just have good communication, but when you're inexperienced in a professional environment and not well traveled, I didn't ever travel or leave my hometown like most of my life until I got into developer relations, of course. It's just hard. Like communication is actually really hard. You think there's nothing wrong with you until you say something and you don't know why you upset so many people. And then you kind of learn over time, like you have to make mistakes to be able to improve. No one is just born and just naturally like, good at communication, good at everything. But my communication definitely improved from just being on global teams, whether it's volunteering or in a professional environment. And traveling a lot has helped me have different perspectives of different religion and culture and just understanding everyone at a very deep level.
Thank you. I really appreciate you joining us today, continuing your journey towards open source contributions with DigitalOcean, Hacktoberfest. Really appreciate all the insights, perspectives, and contributions, Tessa. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I see some comments. Swati, we just read your mind, like you just saw the response from this DigitalOcean team as well. We have a quiz coming up. So folks, that's one of the interesting parts of today's closing event. Let me just add that to the stage here, right? Just hang tight and get ready for a fantastic quiz, right? Like it is the time for a little brain stretch, right? Like we're going to test your knowledge on some of the core trends shaping our industry, the intersection of AI and open source. And folks, you're all the experts. Let's see what you've got, right? Let's get into Slido right now. So hang on for a second. Let me just add this to the stage here. Yeah. So yeah, you see that QR code on the screen. Just scan that and get into Slido. You also see the ID here for us all to join here on Slido. So let's just get that. Let's just take like 15 seconds for us to get into the Slido, please. All right. Hope you're all there in Slido now. Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you're all there. I just want to see at least a couple of thumbs up to make sure that people have got into Slido and they're all set. Yeah. Thank you. Perhaps we can now move on to the first question. I see some folks joining us. Yeah, there you go. I see folks joining us. Maybe we'll give some more time. Yeah. Thank you for the thumbs up. I also see folks joining us through here. Fantastic. Let's just give some more time. Again, folks, the QR code is right on the screen here, left side. Just use that to scan, use the ID, and join us on Slido. We have some cool swags. Right? Hacktoberfest and Dissolution are known for some cool swags. Here's an opportunity to showcase some of your knowledge and sport some cool swags. So join us on Slido, please. I'm going to wait for one of my Dissolution colleagues, Haimantika, to just show us the slide of questions. I think we have voted 35 folks who've joined the Slido. We're just going to give a couple of more seconds for more folks to join us. I know it can take a couple of seconds to scan, to join, and things like that. Six. Come on, folks, join the Slido. Man, we have really cool swags here, and it's going to be fun just participating in a group exercise, right? Whether you know a question or not, just answer your, put your best leg forward. Like, you never know. You can surprise yourself. Don't feel shy. Join us at Slido here, and we'll just get the quiz started here. 37. That's a good count. I want at least 40 people to be there on Slido. Come on, folks, 3 more before we get started. Yeah, there you go. We hit 40. Yay! That's good. That's good. Fantastic. So, folks, let's get into the quiz. When does Hacktoberfest takes place each year, right? January, April, October, December? We begin with a real tough question, folks. Well done. Fantastic. You're off to a great start here. It's very evident. Hacktoberfest happens every October. Well done. So we move on to the second question. Like, what do you usually need to do to complete Hacktoberfest, right? Do you need to attend 4 events or submit 6 pull requests, start 4 repositories, or open 6 issues? Answer, folks. Hurry up. 5 more seconds left. Fantastic to those who answered the right, provided the right response. You need to submit 6 pull requests, right? Like fantastic. That's all you need to do, right? Like, just submit 6 pull requests and you're off on your way there as well. Next question is, who started Hacktoberfest? This is interesting. Is it GitHub? Is it Dissolution? Is it Google or the Linux Foundation? Yay! DigitalOcean, we are blessed and humbled and honored to start Hacktoberfest and drive meaningful contributions with all of you to make a difference in the world. Right? Like it's all a collective effort, and DigitalOcean is sincerely thankful and appreciative for the opportunity we have as a team here together to drive that meaningful change. Thank you. Moving along to the next question. All right, here's a true or false question. Right? Hacktoberfest is only for developers who can write code. Is that true? That's an easy one, isn't it? That's another easy one too. Well, you don't need to just write code. As I think it was Andrew who mentioned, open source community is so welcoming, and there's an opportunity for every member, every role player to make a meaningful impact. So it's not just code, right? Like documentation, being a thought partner, helping drive social. There are lots of ways in which you could truly make a difference through open source contributions. And thank you for all your responses there. Moving to the final question of the quiz. All right. What's the traditional reward for completing Hacktoberfest? Do we get a big shiny trophy? Or do you get nice t-shirts and digital badges? Or can you enjoy some free hosting? Or a GitHub Pro account? Of course, we are known for our cool t-shirts and digital badges. So that's a traditional reward that many of us have enjoyed. And here are the winners. Fantastic. I think it's enough. If I'm saying it right, Aomi, 5 on 5. You're on fire. Fantastic. Thank you for getting all the right answers. And we have several folks who've got the right answers. That's one. Then we have Govind, who's got 5 on 5. Avinash, Anish Kumar, and Rishabh Singh Rawat as well. Like 5 on 5. Folks, you're on 5 today, right? Like, honestly, I didn't get 5 on 5, but that's the way it is, right? Like we are such a welcoming and accepting and tolerant community. Like we all make mistakes. It's fine. That's part of the learning process. And just like I didn't get 5 on 5, for those who didn't get 5 on 5, hang tight and stay engaged, because there's another quiz coming up at the end of this event, right? And you also get some cool swags just for engagement, right? For those meaningful comments or supportive discussions or funny reactions and things like that, right? So congrats to the winners here and others who got 5 on 5. And for those who didn't get 5 on 5 as well, there's still an opportunity for all of us. Again, we sincerely thank you for your time, engagement. Let's continue this discussion. I really appreciate the quiz here. Thank you, Haimantika and team, for putting up this fun quiz. These were really meaningful, fun questions as well, right? Thank you so much. Man, it's been a while since I got a perfect score, right? For those who won today, like congrats on not just coding, debugging, documenting, and things like that. Congrats on winning us these quizzes. Really appreciate it, right? Right. So next, we are diving deep into the architecture of modern AI, right? When you move beyond, let's say, simple chatbots, you need robust, and let's call it cyclical multi-step logic, right? That's where graph-based orchestration comes in, right? So to share more about it and share perspectives and help us navigate more into that graph-based orchestration, right? I'm going to now check and see whether we have the next speaker with us. I think it's Nasima. There he is. Hi, Nasima. Nice to see you here. Appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you really well. You're going to show us how to build a self-healing data intelligence system using the powerful combination of, let's say, like a LangGraph or workflow control and LangChain gradient integration and all. But before we let you have the screen for yourself, Nasima, can you share a bit about where you're joining us from, a bit about yourself and your role here at DigitalOcean, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Narsima. So I am a developer advocate at DigitalOcean, and I'm joining from Bangalore. So it's truly become global that your speakers list is like, from different parts of the world. And yeah, I am actually enjoying the role because I get to develop lots of stuff using the AI tools that we have. So this is one such attempt that I have today, because this also is about creating something cool for data engineers. So I'm going to show a demo. Probably it's high time that we look at some code after the sessions that we have had. Okay.
Fantastic. Bangalore is a sweet spot that I have to.
Correct.
The screen is all yours, Narsima. Just walk us through your topic, please.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I think none of the events would be complete if we don't talk about the AI agents. So they are so great. I think it's becoming so much more useful every day. There are no code, low code solutions. So there are so many ways that we can create them for so many different use cases. So in this particular example that I'm going to cover, one such use case wherein, let's say you have data in terms of the CSV format, and usually what happens is that we do not get uh, data in the good format. So it will be raw, it will be unstructured. Like, you will have to work a lot on it to clean it. It could be for the purposes of downstream tasks later, or it could be because that you want to use it for training a new model. It could be ML model or any other new models that we are training as of today. So a cleaning of the data, it's actually a lot of work. I have tried a couple of times myself with some of the data cleaning, and it actually takes up a lot of time and effort. So I thought, okay, why not try with one of the AI agents and give it a try how it actually works out with a simple set of example data set. But it can be scaled further for bigger data sets as well. So let me try sharing my screen, and I'll show you what as an example that I have built. Yeah, I think you have to show the screen that I've been sharing. Yeah, perfect. I increased the font, so is it visible?
I'm able to see it through my eyes, and those are great, by the way. I don't have my reading glasses on. Please, no one try to guess my age. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so this is one of the things that we are trying. So this is a simple CSV file. So if you see here, as I said, the data, we are not at a stage where we get the data in a nice format, in a platter that, okay, you know what, here is a clean data, use it. So unfortunately, we get the data in a very bad way. So that's why you see that I actually formulated this in a way that, okay, your date. I mean, these are the columns. Like, I have an ID, date, sales, number of sales that has happened for whatever the purposes, whatever the item is. There is a region where it has happened, and some notes. So if you see, there are some mistakes or problems with this data. The date column itself is having different um, formats in the date column itself, and the number in the sales, like 100, 200, if you see here. And also there is like 4 lakh, which is like not possible. So that means that in the terms of when we are training the ML models, the data that we are preparing there, we call it as outlier. So these are the things that we will have to fix it in order to actually take this data for whatever the reasons that we have to further process it. So how can we use any of the techniques that we already have to apply that on this data and make it better, right? One of the things that I have built here is, there are 2 ways I have done it here. One is that main.py, so which uses LangGraph and the simple nodes that I have. So if you see the implementation, so there are some nodes like a planning node, which, and then is the loading node and things like that. It all the way goes till the validation, that it will check that if the data, the schema of the column is correct or not. Do we have any missing columns? If the numbers are coerced or not, that means if there are any outliers, do we need any clamping that, or should we put a boundary that the numbers should not go beyond this or less than this, things like that. We also have something like repair. That means that if there are, then how can we repair these things, right? And then finally, to summarize all this, that, okay, So that means that we are doing all these things, that finally that what is the summary of the changes that has been made on this particular data set. So there's code in all of these things. I'm not going to explain everything because that's, you can just take a look at it by yourself. I'm going to share the repository later. So, but for the planning node alone, I'll just go to the user's request first. So user just says that, clean this file, detect any anomalies that is present, fix some of the common issues and summarize this. But we're going to use an LLM to actually make the whole thing even better. That means that with the help of, this is a chat gradient, a LangChain gradient package that we have developed, we are saying that using one of these models available, you say that, you're a data quality pipeline, planner, do these things, like come up with the bullet points that what needs to be done in order to clean this, data. So once this is done, then it just goes through to the next one, like how we have built the graph here. After that, it's going to load, validate, and all that stuff. And finally, it's going to give us the response. We do have a conditional edges as well. If you have seen LangGraph, how it uses, we can also say that if the validation is passing, that means that we don't have to continue further. That means that probably everything is done. We can just stop the operation here. Otherwise, we can set the iterations to more than 2, 3, or 5 and say that, keep iterating as long as you're finding some mistakes and repairing those rows. So let's just run this and see that how the response looks like. So I'm just running Python main.py. So this just gives the first iteration results and then second iteration results and so on. So first thing first, it'll just go to the node plan, and this is a great thing that the LLM gives in terms of, I just gave a one-line user request, and LLM actually translated that into so many things that it has to clean up in the data, that, duplicate the records, right? And then handle the missing values, check the validation rules, and, and look at the outliers and how to handle that. All these things actually came from the LLM. So this will be applied, when the repair happens. And then I already talked about what are the challenges or problems that with the data that we already have. So the validation definitely failed because it has a schema problem, it has the outlier and all that stuff. And also in the issues, it says that the data is not passed as a date time. So what happens is that after that, it will show that these are the anomalies. So I'm saying that, found one duplicate row. There is also a duplicate row in the data, by the way. And there is also something like, if you see, if it's the sales records, then we are doing this for like 24, 25. There is an entry of 1960, which is like 60, 70 years old, which should not be there, of course. And then there is something like 2050, which is in the future, which should not be there, of course, right? So these again are highlighted here, saying that, there is a suspicious date also present in the data. These are really useful when we are actually fixing the data and then making the whole thing cleaner. So these are the repairs it has done as part of the first iteration completion. It has fixed the dates. It has coerced the numeric values. Then it has also applied that clamping when we say that, okay, that means it has identified that there is a number which is really huge. That should not be the case, and it has applied all those things. This is the result of the whole execution. You will see mostly that the date issue is resolved, sales is taken care of. We can actually figure it out as to what needs to be exactly done with the outliers. That logic is out of the scope of this, but this is done as part of the whole process, and then that's it. So finally, you will see that there is validation. There is no validation error. I am still saying that there are anomalies. I am not fixing that yet because I can take a call as to what needs to be done. Sometimes I need it there. I can continue with that. Or sometimes I might want to delete it in case of a duplicate record. I can just make the change respectively in the repair node. Okay, so this is a great way to handle these kind of things. But what truly makes it a little different or better way to approach is the React agent that we can use it in this particular case. So that's something which is present in the react.py. So how is it different? I have almost everything similar code that is written here as well. The only difference is that I am saying that there are a few tools that is available for the React agent at its disposal when it's created, like loading the CSV itself, validating the validate tool validates it, Anomalies tool will identify the anomalies, repair will repair and summarize. These are the tools that are now available for the React agent. The CSV remains the same. And here is where we are creating a React agent saying that this is the model available, this is the tools. Then we are saying that here is the instructions to you. So we are saying that you're a data quality React agent. So start with this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the instructions we are giving to the React agent. So React agent is so powerful that it actually reasons for every instruction that is present here. It will take an action. Again, after the result is available, then again it will take, it will do reasoning on the result of that. Again, it will take an action. It goes to a loop like that until it reaches the goal. So what we have given here is that this is the goal. Here is the instructions. Get on it, right? So this actually gives another amazing, response. The difference here is that we are not running it in iterations. It just runs and then finally gives us the response. So Python react.py. So it is doing everything by itself. I'm not having anything in between to do iteration changes or anything. So it just takes this instruction, gets the CSV, and then it does everything by itself. So you will see the results are very similar to what I have shown there as well. But here I'm not doing much. Everything is being done by the React agent itself, and it is so good. It has done it, by looping it for every row and figuring out that what was the problem and fixing it. So what I really found out was that people who are in the data engineering field, the data engineers, or people who are actually working with a lot of data, so they can really use these kind of agents whom they can just create these things. So create helper functions, create some tools, use the React agents so that you can just work on large set of data. Of course, you cannot completely take it as is saying that everything is done, but most of the bigger chunk of your cleaning process has been done by these agents, which can be taken as an input, and you can just put human in the loop and then just make this whole process much more easier. So I hope this was useful, and probably it will be used by some of the data engineers in the future, and that will make our life more easier. So that's it I have planned for today. Thank you so much, Ananta.
Fantastic, Narasimha. I'm just reflecting on the points you made and the demo you made too, right? And also I'm looking at some of the comments. Well, I think code cleanup is real. It's something that's continues to challenge several developers, not just in their main careers, but in their open source contributions as well. I saw a comment on the chat saying that vibe code cleaning is going to be an official title someday very soon and things like that. Right? That shows not only the funny side of the problem, but the commonality of this thing as well, right? So thank you so much for that fantastic demo. Really appreciate it. It's also important for us to realize the fact that there are going to be cleanup activities and bugs, and we need to have a streamlined process for making sure they don't happen, but also a streamlined process for making sure that we are constantly going and removing them as well. Those are some of the additional comments that I saw here as well. So fantastic, really appreciate it. Any closing thoughts before we wrap, Narasimha? I know you've been a heavy hitter in the dev space, been through many crowd chats at Hacktoberfest and things like that. Any closing thoughts before we move to the next topic?
No, I mean, so it was great to see that. I couldn't look at the some of the chats, but I did look at that the data can vary, and yeah, definitely true that this is not like the solution. It's just a start. That I just wanted to give a thing like, okay, what it can be used for here as well, but the implementations vary, and it actually has to be even more robust and things like that. But yeah, so I really am looking at the use cases at which these agents can be applied at. So tons of use cases. It's just that we have to get on and we have to start using these tools and just I am more of a code first guy. So when it comes to anything, so try hands on, just try with anything that it comes your way. Only by practically implementing something you will know that what were the challenges and what you learned out of it, so that you can even share it in the forums like this, and then contribute to open source, and we can actually build a career out of it for sure. So yeah, so thank you so much. I love this job.
Thank you. Yeah. So like you made an interesting point. Can you share a bit more about the use cases that you just alluded to? Like, I just want to all of us to enjoy the possibilities here. Like, what top use cases come to your mind in addition to what you just shared today?
So I mean, if you look at, I've been a user of Cursor from long. So I think initial days when I was looking at that, so when there was no reasoning models, so then the way the conversation that was happening with Cursor was different from then to now. The way the conversation is happening with the Cursor now, because now it is using the reasoning models so well, right? That means that it can understand that the intention of what I'm saying much better than what it was doing a year back. So I think when we are cracking these kind of use cases, that is not limited to only Cursor. It is actually can be applied to any kind of things where the system is trying to understand the intention of the user with just one line. So we need not give in 3-4 lines or 6 lines to explain that what I want. It can try to understand the reason of my intention with just one line. Of course, by asking some of the questions, we can just correct it to maneuver it towards my. But that is what I'm looking at. That okay, so it becomes more and more easier for us to not spend more time and just get the stuff that we wanted in like lesser time. So yeah, it's boundless.
Yeah. Thank you for going a bit deeper there. Really appreciate that. I think the audience appreciates that too, right? Like, thank you so much. Your expertise shines well in your explanations too. So really, thank you for your continued support for open source, helping build developer relationships, and helping guide, share the art of possibilities too, right? It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Narasimha. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ananta. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So, folks, with that, I'm going to add another guest who many of us may know well. Like, we've seen many interesting discussions with Haimantika from DigitalOcean. Hi, Haimantika. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anant. I'm doing great. Thank you. Also, you're running a really wonderful session. I was enjoying it in the backstage, and I also see people enjoying it. So, like, wonderful job there.
Yeah. So before we get on to your topic, like, curious to know where you're joining from, any fun plans this weekend, and things like that.
Oh yeah, so I'm joining from my hometown, which is in the northeastern part of India. It's a small city called Siliguri, but I live in Hyderabad now because we have a DigitalOcean office there. And you're talking about fun things, so we have Halloween today. We don't celebrate that as much in India, but it's the culture is slowly catching up. So I built this fun application where you can, using one of our image models, where you can just put in your vibe and it will generate a costume idea for you. So that's a fun thing that I built, and I see our team members are having a lot of fun with it. So yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to highlight since it's a perfect day to talk about it.
Yeah, fantastic. Man, so for those in the US and other parts of the world planning to enjoy some Halloween fun today, may all your screams come true today. Just go have a good fun there. Fantastic, right? An app for suggesting Halloween costumes. That's a fantastic app. I'd love to explore that as well. So with that, I'm going to again, for those of us who may be new here, like, can you share a bit about yourself, your role here at DigitalOcean, and then walk us through the C notes, a project you built right here in the community, right? Like I know you're not going to just give us a demo. You're going to share the story of how Hacktoberfest specifically helped accelerate the development and showcasing the contributions that has resulted in key features and things like that. So just take it away for us, Haimantika.
Of course. So first I'll start sharing my screen, since it's like right now I just have one screen. And I also have prepared a slide especially for my present, like to talk about myself. So I'll just do that. And I just saw a comment from Shravan where he mentioned that I was one of the maintainers for his first open source project. So I'm really glad that you remember me. And I think that this is where life comes full circle, that you, even I started as a contributor sometime in 2015, 2016. And then like I still keep contributing to a lot of projects, including because I used to work at AppRite before, like, and you had Tessa talking about AppRite and open source contributions. Now I'm here at DigitalOcean helping in running Hacktoberfest with our amazing team members. So I think life comes full circle. And once you are in the open source community and you see how useful the products are, how helpful the people are, it's really hard to move away from it. And that's exactly what I'll be talking about in this session. We'll keep it very short. So I know like a lot of the contributors we have today are students or beginners. And what happens is that you contribute a lot during October or maybe even September, which we call as September. But after that, the contribution slowly dies. And that's fine. You may not be able to contribute throughout the 12 months of a year. But what I highly recommend, and even all the past speakers that we have had so far also recommended, that this is like Hacktoberfest is a kickstart to your open source journey. Just make sure that you keep on contributing and take away all the learnings that you have from today or this event to the next ones, because that in some way or the other will be helping you in your career ahead. Tessa has given an amazing session about that. So just keep all of those learnings. So what I'll cover today is that we have we have seen a lot of open source projects because you are trying to contribute to them, right? And now, since Hacktoberfest is over, you might be thinking that what next? What if I want to build something of my own? So basically, in the next few minutes, you learn how you can not only contribute to an open source project, but also the beauty of open source project and why it exists, because you can just use the code that's right there to build something of your own. So that's what we will be covering. And I'm talking about building a production ready SaaS. For anybody who doesn't know what the abbreviation means, is software as a service. And I know as developers, we all dream of maybe either going farming or building a software as a service product or something like that for ourselves. So if you're not in the farming dimension yet, then maybe this session will help you. But with that, since Ananta also wanted me to introduce myself, I'll do that quickly. Hi, I am Haimantika Mitra and I work as a developer advocate at DigitalOcean. I also build a lot of fun side projects. I've been doing that for a while now. I keep doing that on and off. So you'll find I have this cool CLI tool which I did not update for many, many years now. But it's, if you have NPM installed, you can just go to npx space hello hyphen Haimantika, and then you'll see a little bit more about me. I did not mention that here because it's not updated for a long time. But other than that, I'm also very active on social media, both on LinkedIn and on X or Twitter. So if at any point of time you want to talk to me either about open source AI, because I'm also building a lot of AI tools and demos within DigitalOcean and also outside during my free time, I'm more than happy to answer them or even get on a quick call. So yeah, that's about me. And moving forward, I'll talk about what we built. So before I show you the slides, maybe I'll show you a quick demo of what we have, and that it's open source and how you can make use of it to build something of yourself. Also, we'll wrap this one up with that this open source repository was also participating in Hacktoberfest, and we have some wonderful contributions of people contributing. And even after October, which is after today, will still continue to get it will still remain open source. So if you're interested and if you like the project, please feel free to contribute. So I'll go to the demo. We call this the C Notes app. Very cliched notes app, but then it's more than just a notes app, because it has features that forms the foundation of any let's say any SaaS product or any software that you have. There is authentication, there is billing, then you need to deploy the app somewhere. Almost every app now has AI features, so all of these features are there in the repository right here, which we call it Sino SaaS Starter Kit. And the moment you fork it and clone it, you'll be able to use it use it and let's say expand it either for some new ideas that you have, or you can also use it as it is, or you could also use separate components. Let's say you just want to use the authentication, or you just want to use the billing part, or you just want to use the SMS part, so you can also do that. So I'll click on login and I'll log in with my credits. So just sign in there. Nothing fancy, just a simple note taking app. This is the dashboard that we have. But the reason why we built it, even in 2025, when we have AI advancing so much, but we all know that AI at some point it plummets. And after that, especially in production level, especially when it's scaling, and you need things that are production ready. So that is when starter kits like this, especially when it's open source, can help you. So what you can do is like you can create a note. Let's say I want to create a note about Hacktoberfest, and I can use our Gradient AI, which is DigitalOcean's AI offering, to talk about a little bit about about the note that I'm supposed to write. So it just give a very random one. If you want, you can save it or you can cancel it as well. I'll just save it for now. Then we have this billing part for which we are using Stripe integration. And right now, if I have to do this, I'll have to add my credit card details and everything. But for now, we just have two modes, which is the free mode and the pro mode, which most software or products have. So that's also something that you can use in future. And then we have invoice management. Every time, let's say if you have cursor subscription, you need the invoice. So even we have taken care of that as well. And here to email invoice, we have used an emailing service called Recent. So all of these, it comes as a pack, and we called it the starter pack, and this is open source and you can use it as it is. So what this how all of these are working is something that I'll also show you in the presentation, just a very quick overview. But end of the day, what I want to highlight is that this is an example of how you can use multiple other open source projects and build either on top of it or help the maintainers in extending what they already have today. So let's go back to the presentation and I'll restart from resharing my screen. So I mentioned about why we built a starter kit, because we know that there are some parts that LLMs struggle in, especially when it's in a production environment. And this is where kits like this, that is already running in production, already has 100 stars or being used by other people, comes to play. And it also gives you a head start. If you're starting to build something new, you don't have to build some from scratch, and you can just plug and play and then work on the main functionalities or features that your app has. So going forward, I have already showed you a demo of what we have, and this is our way. Other than Hacktoberfest, the DigitalOcean team, we contribute a lot to open source, be it through code. Like most of a huge number of DigitalOcean employees also contribute to open source projects, maintain them. We also heard Ben from a team talk about some of his projects that we're participating in and are also used in building DigitalOcean as a product. So we, our team, or the developer advocacy team, this project has been built primarily by me and my team member Amit Chotwani. So this is our way of saying that we are here to help you get started. So we have built this. Here's the source code. Get started and use it as per your, as per your preferences or as per your use case. And that was about the starter kit. It's open source, and if you want, you can star it, clone it, and use it as either add some feature requests. We are always open to ideas, or if you would like to extend it, like I've mentioned, you can do that as well. And let's see, okay, that's the end of it. But I would also, if you're interested, we also have blogs on how the entire app works. Like that is the tech part of the application, where we show where there is an email integration, where there's an AI integration, how we are integrating Recent, which is an email service, with our AI platform along with Stripe. So all of these are already there. If you're interested, I'll share some blogs on it in the chat right after this. But before I end this, I would also like to give a shout out to all the people who have contributed in our C Notes project so far. I'll just go to our pull request. So what we did was we added a few issues, and then there was a bunch of pull requests that we accepted, that we also, we reviewed. And so here are three people. One of them is Shravan. So I hope this is the Shravan that I'm seeing on YouTube. So thanks, Shravan, for adding the authentication part, which is basically the single sign-on, where right now, if you saw the login, we have to manually enter our email and password. So the next time by the time we merge this, you will have options to sign in with GitHub and also Google. Then we also have Anindita, who has helped us give a summary of all the notes that we are generating using Gradient AI, which is DigitalOcean's AI service. And then we also have so another part is we were using OpenAI's SDK, but this person called Nike, he helped us move from OpenAI SDK to DigitalOcean's SDK. So these are three contributors that we want to thank a lot. And like I've mentioned, and also speakers mentioned, Hacktoberfest ends today, but it doesn't mean that your open source contribution should end today. If you still feel that there are cool features or even UI updates that you would like to add, feel free to add them as issues below. Either me or Amit or somebody else from the team will get to you, and we can collaborate and make this app even better. So that's it for me. I'll stop sharing the screen and take a pause to see if there are any questions.
Like lots of comments, Haimantika. Thank you. Fantastic
Amazing.
insights there. Lots of comments. Just go through the comments. If you feel like you want to answer some of them, feel free to.
Right. I see people. Okay, that's the Shravan we were talking about who contributed to open source. And always welcome, Shravan. So this is, I hope you continue contributing to open source right after this one. And I don't see any questions. So I think we are good with it. Okay, after that, I think Ananta, if we have time, it's time for us to start the quiz.
Yeah.
Let us know if there's anything else that you want to chat about, or should we get started with the quiz?
Well, love to know. Yeah, we can get started with the quiz as well. Right? I want our audience here to have another chance to grab some cool swags. Do you know what kind of swags the audience can expect? Maybe that'll drive a bit more motivation into the quizzes.
Oh yes, so we have the Hacktoberfest t-shirts, which is also a limited edition. I saw a few people who were commenting that they're just getting to know about Hacktoberfest, so I'm sure that they won't be able to contribute all the 6 PRs in just a few hours. So for them, and also for other people who couldn't complete all the PRs, you get a chance to win the Hacktoberfest limited edition T-shirt. And yeah, that's what the quiz is about. So we'll have the quiz again, very easy, fun quiz where we are basically, we call it the fastest finger first, where you are just it's time sensitive. So it, along with getting the answers right, you also need to make it quick. And then, like last time, we'll also have 5 winners. And after that, we'll take a screenshot like I have already taken last time, and we'll reach out to all the winners over email. So expect us to email you by Monday or Tuesday next week. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's let's get on to the quiz section, right? Again, folks, here's your last chance to grab the cool swags that Haimantika just mentioned, right? Same rules apply. Get into Slido now. Let's finish strong with like 5 good responses on the future of development. And here's a chance to shine, right? Like Haimantika, show the Slido screen and we can get started here.
Yep, I'm just signing in. Give me a minute. In the meantime, our audience here can get ready with the phone to scan the QR, or just go to slido.com and add the code that we show. Just 2 more minutes and we should be ready. Okay, I see people already joining in. Nope. I think the last code is still valid. Yes.
I see this screen now. So folks, if you're not in already, use the QR code that you see on the left-hand side of the screen and the ID to join into Slido. We have some cool swags coming. And the questions are fairly easy. So here's a moment to grab some cool swags and shine now. So we want to see at least as many folks who are with us here in this webinar to join the Slido as well. So let's get in, folks. I'm just going to wait a minute for all of us to join in here. Nice. I see folks joining on Slido, about like 15 of them already. Others, scan and log in, please. Well, we see the winners from the last quiz join too. They want more. I love the competition here and the thirst for answering questions and quizzes.
Come on, folks, let's make it to 50 maybe this time. We can wait a few more minutes because we are almost towards the end of this closing hack. After this, we'll just have ending notes. So let's see. We have 20 folks joining in, 21. I don't see an increase in number. What do you say, Ananta? Should we start? Also, the audience, let us know if we are ready to start or should we wait for a few more minutes.
I'd say we just wait a few more seconds. Like we don't give up. We persist, right? Like we're developers, we're technical folks. We persist through certain things. So, folks, let's get to at least 30. Couple of more, please. You see the QR code. Please log in. Very easy questions, but super cool swags and moment for you to shine as well. Let's end up Friday on a high here, right? Like on a high note here. Join in, please. Just we need another 8 more folks. And for others who've already joined, please encourage your peers to join as well. Let's get the chat on fire to encourage a few more folks to join as well, please. If you know someone, tag them on the chat and ask them to join. That's the best way to do it, I think. That's right, Devika. Let's go, folks. Few more folks. Join in, please. You see the QR code on the screen. Just log in. 5 easy questions. Super cool swag. Just to give it another minute.
I see a question of if this is not for people who complete 6PR yet. That is like for Hacktoberfest contribution. This is just for the quiz. So both are two different things. And yeah, this is like it's different. So if even if you have contributed and got 6PRs accepted, you can still participate in this quiz. So no new rules on that.
Yeah. Anyone who's listening, just join in, please. 5 easy questions, super cool swag, an opportunity to win something and close the work with the victory. Right, another 30 seconds. There we go, some folks coming in. Nice. Yeah. Anyone can join this quiz, please. We just need one more. We just need one more to join to get to the 25 mark. Let's see who the final entrant is. If you've not joined, please help us. Scan the QR code, and you see the ID as well. Join for a fun, easy, super easy quiz that anyone can join for a chance to win some super cool swags from Hacktoberfest and Dissolution. There we go. We've hit it. So let's roll, Haimantika. All right, first question. What command do you use to copy a repository to your local machine? Is it git fetch, git clone, git fork, or git merge? Well done, folks. Those who answered it got it right. Git clone is the way to do that. And looks like 78% of you got it right. So well done. Another example of your technical mastery. Let's move on to the next question, please. Which of these is not an open source license? Right? Oh man, the world of licensing. MIT, Apache 2.0, GPL, or Windows 11? There you go. Fantastic, fantastic. Again, as someone says, licensing are very important in open sources too. Like, congrats for those who got it right. And let's keep it going. Move to the next question, please. Yeah. All right. Is it true or false? You can contribute to open source even if you are not a programmer. Is that true? Well done, well done. As we shared earlier, there's an opportunity for everyone to contribute. Well done to those who got it right. The next question is, which of these projects started as an open source? Like, is it Microsoft Edge, or Android, or Mac OS, or VS Code? All right, so VS Code was a popular project that was started as an open source. Congrats to those who got it right. And we move to the final question of the quiz. Which popular open source project began in 1991 when a Finnish student announced he was building a free operating system just as a hobby? You see the four options. Which one do you think it is? Well done, well done. Linux it is. Linux it is, right? Like, what starts as a hobby turns out to be one of the biggest change makers in the world too, right? Like, it's fascinating story. And so that's the end of the quiz. And here are the winners. Congrats, well done. Again, there are lots of folks who got 5 on 5. Some of them got 4 on 5. We got 5 winners here. We got Engzer Zoom, Kumil Parmer, Palchin, Mikkels, and then Romeo, who got 4 on 5 as well. Fantastic to all these winners. And for others, right, like who didn't make it in the winners list, you are also winners, because participating is part of the process and it's part of the joy too, right? So fantastic. And one of the hardest questions, like, thank you, you see the note there, right? One of the hardest questions was which one started as an open source, really hard question, right? So again, congrats to the winners. Hopefully you've enjoyed these questions too, just like most of us here. And thank you, Hi Mantika and team, for putting these quizzes and adding some fun element to this closing event as well. All right. With that, well, folks, with that, you know what it is. It's time to time is up, right? It's time to wrap up, right? Like, and before we wrap, I want to leave you with one thought. The work we've all done this month, right, with all of us, right? It's a teamwork, right? Is how we collectively manage the exponential pace of technology, right? Like, AI is an incredible force multiplier, but it relies on transparent, auditable, and accessible open source foundations. So you're not just consumers, you're the custodians of that future, right? A massive thanks to our incredible speakers in this closing event, Mike Swift. I think we also had Ben, Andrew, Tessa, Narsima, and hi Mantika. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives during the closing event. And of course, to the teams at DigitalOcean, MLH, and all our sponsors and community partners for making this happen as well, right? Like we have Auth0, AMD, GitHub, Education, GitLab, Cloud Native, and several other partners like community partners like Holospin, open source initiatives. Thank you all. It takes truly a village to make a meaningful, to raise open source projects and make a meaningful difference in the world we live in, right? And thank you all for this, for an unbelievable Hacktoberfest this year, right? The closing event is now officially over, but the work, the real work is just beginning, right? Go build something amazing. We'll see you next year. Thank you again. Have a nice evening or an afternoon or a morning based on where you are in the world, and a fantastic weekend. Thanks again for joining us. Take care. Bye.